this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. Kristin Kennedy, President and CEO of Erie Shores Healthcare, joins us to talk about Erie Shores 2050, what's going on with the hospital in Leamington, and a bunch more. And then we've got representatives from 2918 Kingsville Army Cadets to come in and speak about what's happening with them. Some exciting things on this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. Woo! Stay tuned. That Kingsville Podcast proudly brought to you by Kingsville Brewery, for those who wander. Delicious beers available, delivered to your door for free in Windsor and Essex County. Go to the website, kingsvillebrewery.com. Place an order for Light A, Czech Lager, Hefeweizen.
I was reflecting on things.
Yeah.
You know beer?
I know beer.
I love it.
Oh, don't. It is the reason I am
No
the
doubt about it.
Steve, in the reeds, doesn't stop. Oh, are we recording the videos? Are we? Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yeah, no, we're recording the videos.
There's
Right
no
there.
light on it.
I think you had a couple too many Kingsville.
That's on the side there. All right, yeah, I had way too much to drink.
Too many Kingsville Brewery.
There he goes. Hey guys, are we on the TV? Again, go to
check on this guy.
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go to kingsvillebrewery.com. Again, free delivery in Windsor, Essex County. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery, for supporting That Kingsville Podcast. Welcome to That Kingsville Podcast. I'm your host, Dave. Kevin and Steve, we're here again. Another episode. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe, all those things.
It's a privilege for us, isn't it, Kevin?
And I'm Kevin Black.
Do you want to do it like a radio read?
No.
No. Oh, those days are over.
Days are over.
Speaking of days are over, summer's almost over. You know,
Yeah.
we got a bunch of things that are coming up now, right? Like Migration Fest. Like I've seen a whole bunch of information about that, and I'm like, oh Jesus, is it really the fall?
You know how I know when it's about to start getting cold?
Oh, Kevin.
when I and I'm Kevin Black. When I take Sebastian to jiu-jitsu and I forget to take my glasses that aren't sunglasses.
Oh.
And then we come out of jiu-jitsu and it's dark and I only have my sunglasses, so I'm like rolling home with my sunglasses on and everyone's staring at me while I drive by.
Hey,
You're like, yeah, I'm not too cool.
You're Corey Hart.
Yeah.
You wear your sunglasses at night.
I'll never surrender.
Never surrender. So yeah, Migration Fest real quick, coming up October 19th through the 20th at the Jack Miner properties. There's pancake breakfast, lots of activities going on the Saturday and Sunday. There's a car show, pancake breakfast, like I said, all fundraiser. It's by donation for admission and whatnot. So
Is there a pancake breakfast?
there's a pancake breakfast.
Good.
Oh, love pancakes.
Can you tell I'm hungry? It's like I haven't eaten, so pancake breakfast.
They're the best.
And there's a beer fest.
There is a beer fest. We'll get into that a little later in the show, but we've got a
Like as part of Migration Fest, or is Beer Fest separate from Migration Fest?
it's at the
I think
same.
they're tied together.
It's at the same time. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Like I can get pancakes and beer.
yeah. So
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
yeah. So Saturday, October 19th
If
from
they don't do that, I feel like they're missing out.
Saturday, October 19th from noon to 10 at Ty Cobb Field for a full day of craft brews, live music, food trucks, and family friend activities. Presented by St. Clair Alumni Association, Top Dog Brewery, Kingsville Brewery, Anyone Spirits, and many more. And then there's performances by Jason Backlig, BB Ann, and Fresh Breath. So bring the whole family. And again, donations go towards Jack Miner facility. So yeah, it's a great event.
And
Take
check
a
out the
gander.
birds.
Yeah.
Take a gander.
Damn it.
Or two.
I wish I hadn't talked over that. That's great. Sorry,
Steve's full of them.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the first interview, shall we? Joining us on That Kingsville Podcast, Kristin Kennedy, President and CEO of Erie Shores Healthcare. Welcome to the show, Kristin.
Thanks for having me.
So, a lot of news happening around the hospital and whatnot, and there was a public board meeting just fairly recently talking about Erie Shores 2050. Can you bring us up to speed with what was going on?
Yes, exciting times for Erie Shores Healthcare, and we had our first public board meeting about a week and a half ago, and we were happy to be able to announce a few things. The first thing is that we have submitted a master plan to the Ministry of Health, and that is really around submitting a proposal for redevelopment of our hospital over the next 20 to 30 years. I know it's a long time out, but it is the first time we have submitted something of this nature to the province in the history of the hospital. So it's a good news story for Leamington, Kingsville, and surrounding municipalities as well, that we're here to stay, and kind of tempers that myth out there for the hospital. So that's the first good news story. And then tied to that as well, we have done a campaign of sorts called Erie Shores 2050. And it really is looking at today, tomorrow, and the future. And we know we've increased our catchment area by from 65,000 to 165,000 residents. And our ER volumes are growing back to what they were pre-pandemic. And in the next 20 years, we anticipate the population within this area to grow by 27%. So almost 600,000 residents in Windsor-Essex County. And so we just want to get out in the community and talk to the residents and see what their vision is for the hospital today and for the future.
So is it with the master plan and the expansion, are there, details about adding services that weren't already available in the community, or is it just, floor plan for just general square footage?
Programs and services over the last 18 months, and we have a few more exciting announcements coming in the fall. But really it is listening to the residents of our communities and really trying to understand what it is that they would like to see close to home from a service perspective for our hospital. And then us getting to work to see what we can bring to fruition.
What does this mean as far as sort of a physical expansion, as far as needing more property, building up, building out?
Yeah, we looked at several different options, 4 options to be exact. And one was maximizing the space we have. But again, this hospital is almost 75 years old. And then we looked at a hybrid phase as well as a new build. Similar to what you would see at Windsor Regional Hospital. And then we looked at a new build on the existing site, which is the selection that we have proposed to the ministry. We felt it was really important to be able to keep the hospital local, within reach of both Leamington and Kingsville as our, key municipalities that we serve, as well as the rest of the county too.
Yeah, it's a fixture within the community, and over the recent years, there have been improvements. There have been things that have added MRI, right, as the current expansion that's happening right now. Is there anything else that's kind of on the immediate horizon that we can discuss about, next phases, when MRI progress is going to happen?
Yes, so MRI is hopefully going to open the fixed structure within the hospital setting probably in about, I would say, 8 to 12 weeks.
Wow.
And we will have a gap of time where we're closed for about 3 weeks so that we can take away the mobile unit and bring in the new magnet. And that's really exciting for us. We've done close to 750 MRI tests across, serving across the county, and probably minimizes wait times by at least a month from what we've seen related to cyber attack and the pandemic. So I think we've really helped move the needle in Windsor-Essex County from that standpoint, and we're so excited to get that open in the next little bit and hopefully be able to invite the community out to see it as well.
When you make announcements like these, what does this do for the morale of staff within the building? Obviously, there have been some challenges over the past 5 to 10 years. And what does it do also as far as attracting new staff to come to the hospital?
I think it's done a world of difference for our hospital. I think the physicians, the staff, the volunteers, and the community at large understand that we have a leadership team and a board of directors that really is behind sending a message that we're competent, that we're here to stay, and that we're invested in the community and the programs and services that we are looking to expand and bring online over the next year, 5 years, and 30 years.
Now, and I'd be remiss if I didn't add that Kristin is my boss.
Yeah.
And I work every day beside the MRI construction, so I can confirm that it's well underway.
Good.
Kristin, you didn't mention, and maybe you could just touch on it briefly, that amazing $1 million anonymous donation that was also announced at the board meeting.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yes, can't miss that. We did receive a very generous donation from a family whose family member had been in our hospital over the course of the last few months, and to the hospital anonymously for us to invest in patient experience and infrastructure in the hospital. And we are in the process of looking at what that looks like from a utilization perspective. But as a hospital that's growing, we certainly have some infrastructure needs imminently, and we're hoping to leverage some of those dollars to expand the existing footprint of our patient beds in the hospital. So it's an exciting time, and we're so appreciative.
And all this excitement, is this going to keep the comms guy busy?
Very.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, Kristin, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your night. I know you're not feeling exactly, top of health right now, and but this kind of news is really exciting to communicate to the community. So thanks for taking the time tonight to come on the show.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Joining us on That Kingsville Podcast, members of 2918 Kingsville Royal Canadian Army Cadets, Lieutenant Gary Lucier and Ethan Wuerch, member of the sponsorship committee. Thanks, guys, for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
We appreciate it.
So cadets, everybody knows about cadets, but nobody really knows about cadets. So what are cadets? Are they soldiers? Do they, go do they go and serve in the military? Help us out.
Okay. So Kingsville Army Cadets, it's located in Kingsville. We've been here for over the past 50 years. Being a cadet, they're not members of the military. The program itself, it's ran by Canadian Armed Forces officers and instructors. And it's a free youth program for the kids. So they use military fundamentals, their ethics, their values to invite youth into our program to help with that transition into adulthood.
How old do you have to be to join?
To join, you have to be 12 years of age. Mm-hmm. You do an enrollment package. We can do that either in person or online. And it's free to join.
What's an enrollment package look like?
Basically, the enrollment package, it takes your basic information like address, stuff like that. We'll need a copy of your health card, birth certificate to verify that you're a Canadian citizen. And then after that, it's sent off to our database, and then they're enrolled in the program.
Okay.
Yeah. So locally, you said it's a free program. So how's this funded? How do we do what cadets do?
Okay. So the cadet program is funded partially by the Department of National Defense, as well as through local sponsors from our sponsor committee.
Yeah.
So the Department of National Defense, they fund things like uniforms. Each cadet's given a uniform to train in. If it gets wrecked during training, it gets replaced, kind of thing. They also help fund the officer staff to run the program. And we also rely on our volunteers for a lot of things too. So we do a lot of camping trips. Some of them are supported by DND. Some of them aren't. Also things like leadership weekends, year-end trips, fun activities for the kids. For example, last year we took our group of 30 kids, went to Canada's Wonderland for Cadet Day, all free of charge for them. Food, everything. They just showed up and had a great time.
And enjoy. So Ethan, you're part of the sponsorship committee. What does that look like? Is it?
So for everything that's not covered by the Department of National Defense, we rely on the sponsorship committee. So it's approaching local businesses and charitable organizations and trying to partner with them so that they can help us, ensure that the kids have the best experience possible. So some of the funding that we would use from the sponsorship committee, for example, helping pay for the Canada's Wonderland trip, paying for extra air rifles, any other expeditions that the kids want to go on that we want to help facilitate the program. Absolutely.
So some of the community kind of involvement and whatnot, right? Every November end October, November, we see poppies and poppy sales and whatnot to help fundraise for, I'm assuming, Legion and those efforts. What other things do cadets do in the community throughout the year?
So we get the cadets involved. So citizenship and community service is a big part of our program. So we get them helping the legions, pinning poppies, and pretty much whatever we can get the cadets involved in to get them some community exposure is what we're looking for.
Sorry to cut. So pinning poppies. So taking the pin and making the poppy, like the red and the black, and sticking the pin through. And
it's the term the Legion members use. They don't like selling poppies because they're not selling them. It's more for donations.
I honestly thought that maybe that was how it happened. I'm like, oh my God, is that really how is that the first step?
All right, cadets, time to make the poppies.
It's a lot more fun than that.
I was just going to say, you're selling it like,
I'm
great.
sorry, but I was really interested. I thought, is that really like are we getting finally behind the curtain of poppy sales?
No, okay, and that's where we do need to, no, seriously, because I made the mistake years ago of putting it as selling poppies.
Yeah.
And I got a call, and it was a friendly call, but no, it's because it's all by donation.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I used the wrong term because it is. And it always has been, and it's a great way to help fundraise for the legions and any of those efforts that the military and forces need to support our local community. So
sorry.
So parade nights are what nights did you say again?
Parade nights are Thursday nights. We parade from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So we're at the Kingsville Legion on Division Street there.
And for people that are listening and don't know, parade night is basically your meeting night, not that you're out parading.
Yeah, correct. So we meet on Thursdays and we provide training during those nights. So during Thursday night training, our program's a youth leading youth program. So the older kids, the officer staff, we mentor them to run the program and teach the program to the younger cadets. So the new cadets coming in, the older kids teach the younger cadets, and then it's a mentoring cycle. So they gain leadership experience, supervision experience. We teach them basic fundamentals on a Thursday night. So it could be drill and ceremonial, community service, some marksmanship fundamentals, navigation, map and compass. A lot of kids don't know how to use a map and compass nowadays.
What's a map? What's a map?
And tons of things. We have sports nights where we encourage the kids to get active. We teach them about healthy lifestyles. Leadership training is a big one. It gives them leadership experience. A lot of businesses and companies pay large money for that. And these cadets are getting it for free for just showing up and being a part of the program.
How regimented is a parade night?
So regimented, they come in, the cadets come in uniform. The older cadets inspect them. So is their boots bloused properly? Are they blackened? Is their boots shined? Depending what uniform they're in, they get two types of uniforms. Are their pants ironed? Stuff like that. And then after the inspection, they jump into training. They follow military protocols for respect and stuff, which is a good thing to teach the traditions and stuff that the military uses.
You guys both being, cadets and obviously still involved. Are you still involved too, Ethan?
I'm involved in my role on the sponsorship committee, yes. But
So do you in order to get sponsorship, do you bring individuals through or help explain how much value this has to the community?
Oh, of course. For people, we want people to have trust in the money that they're entrusting us and through supporting the kids. So letting people know the huge benefit that this program has to offer. It instills citizenship. It instills respect. It instills a drive to just better yourself, to be better, to be part of a group. These are all incredible fundamentals that sometimes are sorely lacking. And I think the cadet program is a hidden gem in that respect. So showing people the benefits that this program has to offer and how it's not you're being drafted, you're joining the military, you're going off to war. No, it's a program to teach you and better prepare you to tackle the problems of the world, to go into your rest of your life. It's a great program. And we both come out of it. We can both speak from experience. It's in some respects, it's life-changing. It's very, very impactful.
Yeah, I joked about it being the military, obviously. I I'm aware, but a lot of people aren't because they see them in the uniform. They look like they're serving active military in one of the branches. So, there's a lot of misconception or a lot of misunderstanding of what that is. But, October is a bit of a special time for the cadets. So you've got Cadet Week coming up in October, first week of October.
Yep. Cadet Week, a couple of years ago, the Ontario government recognized it as a thing that has to be recognized through an act. It's October 5th to 11th this year. And we're looking to try to spread the news about our program and hopefully bring in some new recruits to let out the best kept secret in Kingsville.
So do you do anything special for Cadet Week?
During Cadet Week, we are doing something for the cadets. So we have a survival weekend planned locally here.
Oh,
so we're taking the cadets out.
Thanks. It's easy to say.
For a survival weekend. So basically, we give them a kit list.
And no phones, right? Like they just got to go without phones for the weekend.
They're going to have to try to make it through.
Oh, how could they survive?
So on that weekend, we'll teach them how to make improvised shelters, how to collect drinking water. We'll teach them some basic first aid skills while they're in the field, hazards to look for. We do have tents available for those who aren't comfortable yet sleeping in improvised shelters. But we get great support from the community for things. Like we have a local greenhouse, and they donate fruits and vegetables for the kids to have as healthy snacks.
Shout them out. Who is it?
Oh, geez, Louise. I'd have to check my list.
All right. One of them.
Yeah, one of them.
We have many.
So the local sponsor that does the fruits and vegetables is the Willow Tree.
Yeah.
He likes to keep it on the down low, but super nice guy. He donates for the kids, and they get a healthy snack to help instill that healthy lifestyle portion of the program. It's awesome to cut down the cost of our weekend activities too with food supplements that are healthy. So you just go out in a random field in the county and rock it out, figure it out? Is that it? No, so there's lots of other establishments. So during COVID, I reached out to Kingsville Shooting Sports Association here in Kingsville, and they graciously offered us, they have 10 acres of bush and a pole barn, and they're like, hey, you can come do some training out here.
Yeah.
Not on one of their shooting nights.
No, probably not advisable.
No, but they have 10 acres of bush there, and it's a great place to learn these rugged skills of building a shelter, building a fire, different types of fires, survival skills, just what they need to know to go in the bush.
It's like advanced scouting.
Yeah.
Like turbo advanced scouting.
It's great. And the partnership that you have with all these activities, like we're talking about improvised shelters here. You're going to go in there on your own. You're going to say, well, I can't build. I don't know how to do this. But you have people who have been in the program for years. You have your senior cadets, and you have even younger cadets, and you all work together to achieve a common goal. It's an incredibly, to simplify it, it's a huge team building exercise. Everything you do, you have to rely on your partner, you have to rely on your fellow cadets, and you all work towards a common goal. A better parade night, better shine boots, an improvised shelter, whatever it is that lays in front of you.
Now sorry, Steve.
Sorry, Kevin.
I can't win tonight. We have tried so hard. We mentioned, and again, reiterate, being a member of Cadets does not mean that you're enrolled in the Canadian military. But not that that's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. So if someone was looking at that, and if a young person was considering that as potentially a career option for them down the road, does Cadets give them a leg up in training or in their ability to join the armed forces when it was time?
A little bit. So during basic training, there's a lot of the skills that the cadets learn in Cadets, and they're transitional skills. So like the drill's going to be the same. The map and compass is going to be the same. The dress, deportment, the leadership, they'll learn all the formalities. So those are the same. A lot of the cadets that transfer over to the reserves or reg force later on in the future, the instructors there know by looking at you how competent you are in your skills.
You've been here before.
It's hard to hide.
Yeah.
There is advanced summer camps and stuff too. So cadets, when they later on in the program, they have the option to take summer training, or they can be employed as a staff cadet under the Department of National Defense. They get a service number, which sticks with them for life if they go to any government job. And then the government pays them for a summer contract, which is really cool. I worked on a military base. I have that on my resume as a first job, and they make decent coin.
It's a great experience. I went back when I was around 14, 15 years old. I went to, I think it was Blacktown, and I was there for, I believe, a month. And it was a very strict, at least when I was there, no phone policy, right? Everyone got it for an hour on Sundays. And so I got to use a payphone. To call home, I got to use a payphone on Sundays. It was great. And back then, I didn't have a phone either. So I got to skip the long line of trying to get your phone for an hour. Just go right to the payphone, call my folks. But the camp was incredible. That was my first time actually having to go out on my own. My parents left me at the camp for cadets. Obviously, you're supervised, but your parents aren't there. You have to learn to be independent. I had to do my own laundry. I had to make sure I got up on time. All these things, again, helping you mature at a much quicker rate than some of your peers who might not have the opportunity to experience this program.
One of the times the cadets are most visible, obviously, is on Remembrance Day. They play a significant role in the services. I always admire the fact that the 4 that are stationed at the cenotaph never move. And others are obviously marching and then stood in the parade. I'm wondering if you've ever had any feedback or if you've taken part in it yourselves, and maybe you can just talk about the sense of pride that has and myself. I mean, I've always, I don't want to say enjoyed the stories of World War II, but I've appreciated, thank you, and enjoyed the history and been very respectful and mindful of the work that's being done. And obviously this is part and parcel, but back to the point, what is that sense of pride like to take part? It's an annual event, but just to be there and be part of that.
It's awesome. So partially what we do around Remembrance Day is we have a night that's dedicated just to the history of it. So we educate the kids. They're not in high school yet. They don't have their history class on World War I, World War II, and all the other stuff leading up. So we get some local veterans come in, tell stories to the cadets, educate them about the history a little bit. And then we take great pride in expressing that to them. And a lot of the old vets at Remembrance Day around the cenotaph, they appreciate it as well. Even the way the cadets interact with the public, they're very respectful. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And they appreciate that. Few kids nowadays hold the door open for people.
Yeah, some values again. Yeah. So have you participated in Remembrance Day ceremonies that stand out, right? Was there a specific instance where you had some very fresh cadets or, something where, you can notch that in your memory of, we really did something right. You've been involved for a long time, right?
Yeah. So I joined the program as a cadet back in 2011 when I was 12. And at that time, we had 55 cadets in our program at Kingsville. After COVID, we went down to about 7 cadets.
Oh, wow.
Because we're a very hands-on program. We teach a lot of hands-on skills. We went down with the virtual training down to 7, and now we're rebuilding. We're about at 30 right now. So it's nice to see that number grow. There's a lot of stuff that we can do again, which is awesome.
So youngest being 12, oldest being?
They age out at 19.
19.
So on their 19th birthday, they can no longer be a cadet.
Okay. So then they have an option to either become staff like yourself, or what has been next steps for those that want to continue to help and support cadets?
It's kind of a mix. You don't have to stay. We give you the skills to transition into adulthood. There's a lot of couple famous people that they've taken their skills and they've really excelled at life, and that's what we're trying to instill in the cadets is life skills. Some transfer over to the reserves. Some like to volunteer and join our support committee,
right?
To give them funding, and then a few people enroll in the CAF, whether it's the Reg Force Reserves. I'm in a subsection of the reserve, the Cadet Instructors Cadre, so my job is strictly running the cadet program.
So yeah, a lot happening, a lot of rebuilding post-COVID, and a lot of excitement. So, how do people get in touch with the cadets, both locally, website, phone number?
Yep. So we're at the Kingsville Legion there. We have a banner with a QR code.
Okay.
They can scan it, Google Maps, registration form, everything's on there. Our email is 2918army@cadets.gc.ca.
And that'll go right to the Kingsville detachment.
We also have a Facebook account, Instagram coming. And, coming out of COVID, a lot of community events, we're going to start showing up. You're going to see 2019 a lot in Kingsville and across Essex County.
Great.
Next one off the top of my head, Kingsville Migration Parade. You're going to see the full uniform going down Main Street.
That's coming
stay
up,
tuned.
Coming up in a couple of weeks, just after Cadet Week. So
after the parade night training and stuff like that too, what I wanted to touch was summer camp. So after COVID, the program changed a little bit. The program's now more agile, more affordable, and more accessible to the youth. And they restructured their summer program too. Like Ethan was saying, he went away for summer camp. I did a couple summer camps when I was a cadet. But this past summer, we've had 4 cadets go to different camps across Canada.
wow.
We had one go out to BC for a couple weeks to do a sports and fitness course. We had a bunch go to Blackdown. One did a drill and ceremonial instructor course. One did a marksmanship instructor course. And the one girl that went to camp did a basic marksmanship course where she learned marksmanship skills and got her shooting badge.
Okay.
But they have like a drone operator course, get your Transport Canada drone certificates. They have a music program. They have all types of things that hits a wide variety of kids. And they even have a summer co-op program. So the kids going through high school, they get the community service hours through cadets. If they get picked up for this competitive program, they can actually gain credits while away at summer camp being paid. And it's a great way to stand out on the resume, and especially coming out of the secondary education.
Can I drive a tank?
No.
No tanks. All right.
You might be able to fly a glider, though.
Hey, you're talking drones, right? Like drones is pretty. A lot of people don't realize you got to be licensed for drones over a certain size now, right? So to find out that that's part of the availability package in order to learn and obtain those skills, it's fantastic. Again, there's a lot of unknown about cadets. You see them and you don't understand what exactly it is. So the program locally is September to June, and then as you said, summer program kicks in.
Yep.
So can anyone just join midstream kind of thing?
Yeah, we encourage people to join midstream. We have kind of like a catch-up package,
Okay.
so to speak. So even if they're a little bit older, they don't join right at 12. We fast-track them to where they need to be. It's a little bit of a learning curve to instill all those skills in a short amount of time. But there is options there as well.
Yeah, and as you said, the older cadets help foster the education for the younger. So it's a really kind of a peer mentorship kind of atmosphere.
Exactly.
So any significant stories about something that for 2918, any major national trips that you guys have done, any awards that maybe you've been given, or is that a thing?
There's in 1996 and 2006, we were awarded the Strathcona Trophy for top small Army Cadet Corps in Ontario.
Okay.
We're trying to get there again, get the standard back up, but it's a long process. Last year we brought our marksmanship team back from COVID. We competed against 11 teams. We got 4th.
Hey.
Our RSM, Master Warrant Officer Hernandez, she got the bronze medal for top marksman at the competition.
See?
Aiming high.
Yeah.
Or not.
That's U.S. military, by the way. Aim high.
Oh, still.
Yeah.
I didn't say aim high. I said aiming.
Yeah. Well, that's something that you can tout as those are the fun opportunities that you're afforded to compete amongst peers and amongst other people that are attending cadets and building those skills. And if you can, win some competition, that's just an extra little Guess what, guys? I'm the best.
Well, last year she also got the opportunity to go to northern Canada for a winter expedition. So they do winter survival training, skiing. Like she got to go up north and have a great time and learn some skills that you wouldn't normally see around here.
Mm-hmm.
But that was awesome. It was a regional expedition she did.
Wow. Was it in Omemee, Ontario?
That's not far enough north.
Yeah, but it's really far and cold.
It's pretty cold.
Well, like I said, Cadet Week coming up beginning of October. Thanks for sharing. Give me that email address one more time.
The email address is 2918army@cadets.gc.ca.
Or visit
visit our Facebook page.
Facebook page.
All the information's on there. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Happy to answer any questions and happy to show off the Corps.
Even if you're not 12 to 18, we are looking for civilian volunteers, which Ethan's a part of.
Mm-hmm.
They meet once a month. They help organize fundraising, community sponsorship, like he was touching on, and just trying to get more funding that we can give back to the cadets and make our local program better.
Is that the best way to get to you through that email address as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. So anybody listening, watching at home, all those folks, if you feel like you want to contribute to the local cadet organization, please, get in touch, because what it sounds like to me is I should have been a cadet years ago, because I'd be a super
way better
capable
person.
guy.
Just generally better person.
I think I could tie a knot and maybe shoot an elk.
You know how to tie a tie?
No.
You learn that at Cadets.
See?
Yeah, but running this show, there'd be no cut-ins. Kevin! Steve!
Very regimented. Lieutenant Lucier, Ethan, thank you very much for joining us on That Kingsville Podcast.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So do you want to be a cadet? I want to be a cadet. I want to be like an adult cadet. I want to do cool night vision goggle stuff. Do you think they'd let me do it?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Too fat and old.
Yeah.
No.
Same.
That wouldn't be the reasons why.
Oh, do tell, Steve. It's my vision, right? It's you just don't have good vision. Anyway.
That's not the only reason why.
Talking about vision, there was a committee of the whole meeting earlier this week in time. See that lead in?
That was solid.
I didn't even get a chance to make my hunt
See that?
reference as to why they might let him in the cadets.
No,
but anyway.
No, I'm just talking about vision.
I see where you're going.
It's all clear now. Committee of the whole meeting earlier this week. There was a presentation. It was the mayor's vision of the the school property situation that we have going in Kingsville. What are we going to do with the disposition of Kingsville Public School property, KDHS, and possibly Jack Miner, which after reading the presentation looks like Jack Miner is not in the sights. Let's see, more military shooting references. I'm best leave the puns to you.
They're not gunning for that property?
Not gunning for that property.
Okay.
So a lot of people, there's a lot of misconception. There's a lot of misunderstanding about when the first big community session happened about should we purchase or should we not purchase the school properties. And a lot of people were very upset that, there wasn't a lot of information and there wasn't an understanding of the valuation of the properties as they stand and or what the town would do with them if we purchased it. Again, the internet's abuzz about, we can't afford more taxes for buildings to sit there and do nothing, right? So I think that this was in a bit of a response to create some framework that if council decides to purchase those properties, here's what they would target for execution. So, conveniently, Committee of the Whole is not recorded on the video. So there is some information. It's on Have Your Say Kingsville website where the whole discussion and online debate is going. And if you have an opinion about this issue and you haven't yet gone on there, I encourage you to, because that is what council is using as the barometer of the town acceptance and or suggestions as to this issue. So clickety clack on that web page and put your feelings in print. So
I know we're going to get into some of the details, but before we do, it's interesting framing by the town to put this forward as the mayor's vision, because now this was presented to committee of the whole. When it goes to council, is council then going to vote on what the mayor's vision is, or are people submitting comments on the mayor's vision? Because shouldn't people be submitting comments on what council feels should happen? Isn't this?
I see what you're saying, and it creates a target on the individual rather than the council for the decision, right? Because ultimately it is the council's decision, but it's now being advertised as the mayor's direction.
Right. But this is, so council hasn't received a report on what's going to happen.
Correct.
This committee of the whole did from a report that was created and submitted by the mayor, but council hasn't made any recommendations whether or not they want the community to review this. It's semantics,
but it's not.
But at the same time, it's people are commenting on one person's decision on what they think should happen, when it's really about an administration putting together recommendations that they've studied, and then council deciding if these are recommendations that they could support potentially, and then getting community feedback. And instead of doing that, now we have, here's what the mayor thinks is a great idea. And I don't disagree with a lot of the things that are in it. It's just the process is, I've never seen it done this way.
I haven't actually looked at the report. So what's being proposed?
Well,
just a question before we go there. Is what's being proposed similar to what was presented in the needs study?
Yes.
Because the needs study, as far as I'm concerned, was not done by the mayor.
Correct.
So this is basically framing the needs study, which is done previously, as the mayor's vision.
It is providing options to satisfy some of the identified deficiencies and options to satisfy future need in the community.
No, I'm not talking about details. I'm talking about just the way it's worded.
Yes.
So it's basically taking one document that was presented by administration and reframing it as the mayor's vision, making it sound like the mayor came up with it when really it was already done.
Sure.
I guess I don't like the way it's presented either. Like I get it, and maybe this is
might be semantics.
Sure, and then maybe it's Mayor Rogers' way of saying, look, if this doesn't fly, I'm okay with it. I'll take the bullet on this one, so to speak.
Maybe it's being framed this way because the report that contained all of these recommendations was voted down by council and would require a motion of reconsideration.
It's possible, right? It's possible reframing it to proceed. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, regardless, let's get to a little bit of the content.
Right.
So the actual recommendation, again, purchase both KPS and KDHS properties. From there, move the OPP from their current location on Division Street South and put them in the current town hall structure on Division Street North, which, coincidentally used to be the OPP station before amalgamation, right? And town hall was put there to become somewhat of a
more central location, factoring in Gosfield North and Gosfield South.
Because
the OPP station, the OPP didn't serve the town of Kingsville.
Correct. No.
So that's
expanding the public works facilities on the current site, and then move the public works staff into the remaining space of the current town hall. So any of those other staff that service all the other departments, they're out of there. And then, there's the additional room, right? They brought up in that needs study that they're at capacity in certain respects for bodies and seats.
Makes sense so far.
And then finally, directing administration to prepare a report and bring to council. So taking, I guess, feedback from this and going and creating something that can be council's, I guess, direction. So the vision for KDHS.
So hold on. So just to boil it down. So the recommendation is to purchase the schools.
Correct.
to make those movements.
Yep.
And then create a report.
Yeah, bingo. maybe it's
Create a report.
Yeah,
to
maybe.
determine whether or not they should do the
those
rest
things.
of the recommendations.
Right. I would hope so. I hope it's
Because
just
it's a weird way to.
it is. But okay, moving on. So the vision for KDHS. So demo the KDHS building. So here's where, and I'm going to take a quick step back. A lot of the people online think that the intent was to keep the facilities as their intact state. And a lot of people on Facebook,
For what?
that's exactly it, right? Like they're misunderstanding what purchasing those properties is. Property meaning the square footage in the location of town, not necessarily the facilities for their usage as structures currently standing.
Yeah.
It would probably cost you a heck of a lot more to refit and refurbish what's there to bring it up to what you need than to demo it and build new.
And that's why the school board decided, hey, we're going to shut down these 3 schools and build 1 because that's cheaper than it is refurbing of 3. So demo the KDHS building. Keep the goose mural from the current high school for future town hall. So
I like that.
The mosaic.
That's
It's
nice.
beautiful. It's beautiful. Keep the front half for new town hall and library, current and future use. Use the property for some civic and green space, rezone current library and sell for commercial use. Right? It used to be a grocery store a long time ago. Before
A lot
the
of
rehab.
things.
A lot of things. Right. A lot of things went through there.
Bingo hall.
Yeah, the property and library sales go into the facility reserve earmarked for town hall construction. So, hey, we sell properties to fund the projects.
Good.
Take in RFP bids for sale of back half of the property. Again, there's I can't remember how many acres.
Oh, no,
5 or
it's
something
there's
like that.
2 full soccer fields plus some surrounding
space.
land.
So for the back half, for affordable housing, similar to what Leamington's doing, because quote unquote, we want it in our backyard. We're missing middle 4-story townhomes, semis, wartime homes. That's a recurring theme that I think, maybe.
That's I found that line interesting since there was an entire report from administration talking about how density should be pushed to the edges of the town instead of in the center of town.
Anyway, I guess whatever.
But the missing middle is now is kind of a buzz around planning, and I've seen it popping up quite a bit where they're talking about how there's 2 dense areas like uptown Toronto and downtown Toronto, and then there's a missing middle section of development.
Oh, yeah, and that honestly, you see that in a lot of urban centers throughout, I guess, the Western Hemisphere. Like a lot of American cities have that same structure because that was their original creep.
Yeah,
right. Was we've been centric in this area, and then affordability or whatever have you, and then you end up having in a major metropolitan area 2 major centers, right? Assess and formulate a plan for migration hall. So we don't know if we want to keep it or do what with it or put a pool on the roof or
Stop saying the P word.
Hey, listen. Demo, rezone, RFP, public feedback, sell in 1 year's time. So I guess that's
a lot of words.
That's a lot of words. That's a lot of stuff. So the vision for KPS. Oh, sorry. Are we good with KDHS?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's go.
Because this is the one that I have issues with. And
should have saved this for last.
Do we want to go through the whole thing?
Let's go through KPS and then you can come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't want it to
It's not huge. It's not huge.
Nope.
I think that I'm out on an island on some of my thinking on it, but
always. That's why you're on the show. That's why you're on the show. Vision for KPS. Demo, rezone, mixed use, design features, public feedback, RFP, sell top 5 acres within 1 year. Keep bell from front driveway for new town hall, right? Hey, let's take the the characteristic things from the 2 schools and make sure that we're honoring our legacy, even though the new school's not even named. About the town. 3-story buildings, first level commercial, next to residential, work with local developer organization for affordable housing. Plan for hill, field, downtown green space.
Good.
Property sale goes. There was a guy back in like 2017 or 2018 that made a report. It's crazy.
Was he on a committee?
He was on a committee. Property sale goes into facility reserve earmarked for town hall construction. So, okay, there's the means. So vision for current town hall, move OPP to current town hall building, rezone commercial, sell current OPP building, and put dollars towards construction of new OPP public works site. Public works moves into remaining space at current town hall. These two moves will save the taxpayers millions in having to build new OPP station as well as develop new public works yard.
That I tend to disagree with
do as well.
They aren't obviously counting the retrofit of that building.
That's correct.
That's going to be expensive.
And that was also on the facility review that the current OPP station is so badly worn down that it should be demoed, if I remember correctly. So how are they going to achieve this? $400K in the tax base for school properties, adding 2% to 2025 budget, given about $900,000 built-in payment with secure loan. Purchase and demo both school properties, current evaluations with demo $6 to $8 million. So there was a couple of reports done on the valuation of the two schools, and I'm just gonna, from my memory, I think KPS's value was somewhere about 1.4 million. And the high school being $2.5-ish million in valuation.
5 and change.
Was it 5 and change?
Yeah.
So that's dyslexia.
If you go down.
Yeah.
They have the appraisals in separate
do.
file. Yeah, but I believe it's 5.6 on the high school and like 1.5-ish.
Let me finish that. I'll pull it up.
Oh,
just so
I'm sorry.
No. I just want to get to the housing wise. So,
This is where we needed regimented, Dave.
Sorry, folks. Amherstburg sold for $3.3 million with less acres. It still meets demo and zoning. Leamington had success with the resale of their school properties. He recommends they look at other redundant buildings and have to consider them to be sold. Set these as a priority for demo, rezoning, public feedback, RFP design to be done with the first. Make sure that this is all done within the first year of purchase so that we're not hanging on to properties. So why is this important? We'll have little control over these two properties if we do not buy and control what goes there. Our town hall is not meeting current and future needs. 4-year term thinking versus long-term thinking. So
I like the rationale.
I do too.
Yeah. It's the facilities review report. Just put into a PowerPoint.
Yeah, missing a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not accounting for all of the buildings like that.
No,
we talked
you're right.
about.
You're right.
So the appraisal report, it's coming up here. So no, high school, $2.415 million.
Oh, okay.
And then
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. And then
What was I looking at?
Probably
Just
numbers.
making things up.
Yeah, and KPS, $1,341,000. So yeah, I think it very much is addressing some of those needs that were identified in the facilities report, giving some background, some rationale to what the purchase can be used for, how they can satisfy a lot of the open points that have been identified. And then the point at the end, controlling the destiny of two major parcels of land within the center of Kingsville.
So the first thing that I think needs to be acknowledged is that while the Leamington Council did sell those properties, I think 2 years ago, does that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's happened on those sites since. And
Well, isn't the one a school
Yes.
operating as a school?
Yes. Mill Street is now
sorry,
South
I'm
Shore
just
Christian
referring.
Academy.
I apologize. I'm just referring to LD.
Okay.
Yeah, at
That's
LD,
correct.
at LD,
Yep.
which is
Yeah, it's
Yes,
just looking
you're
worse
right.
by the day, the old LD.
yeah. It's and I mean I'm sure that there's a lot of work happening behind the scenes and everything takes time, but I think that's one thing that the public needs to keep in mind is that it's not like you're going to sell these off and instantly they're going to be developed.
No.
It's just because the town has the ability to control what goes there doesn't mean that the town has the ability to tell the developer you have to go right now. Now, and the one part, and I've been vocal about this in the past, the one part about that report that I think is false is the thought that a town hall needs to be on a major piece of property on Main Street. And A town hall is where you go and you do civic business. You don't have to have prime town location to go and pay your taxes and submit a building permit. I think that there's lots of property around other municipal buildings that could be available to do something similar to what they're talking about. But I think that taking up prime land for a town hall is unnecessary, because it's not like if you go to the other town halls, if you go to Leamington, if
on
you
a main
go
street.
to, yeah, but how many people are there? Like what's the benefit to the community for having the town hall on a main street? Why not have it on Road 2? You just rebuilt Road 2 and rebuilt an intersection.
Okay, so this is fun. This is good debate. You mentioned, maybe adjacent lands to other municipal buildings. Where? Which ones? Like where would you put it?
I would buy the corner of Road 2 in Jasperson, across from the arena.
New Jasperson.
Sorry, New Jasperson, not Old Jasperson.
I was like, wait,
Yeah,
the baseball diamond? Yes, New Jasperson,
Yeah.
which I think is slated in future, as potential residential development. But yeah, no, that is a perfect location for that, kind of a usage, right?
Well, and then you still are providing a quick access to residents who live in Cottam.
Yeah. In fact, it's on a public transportation route as well.
Yeah.
Right. LTW.
Sure, all benefits, but by the same token, I mean, the town has invested so much on the arena property, and it's only going to keep needing more. I think minor baseball will probably tell you they could use another diamond. There's people who would love sort of an indoor soccer field similar to what other municipalities have. To me, if you're able to acquire the property you're talking about, that's the type of stuff that should be going there. And I understand your point as far as that it doesn't need to be there, but is it harming anyone if it is there? Because I remember the initial study, or one of the initial reports said, town hall and fire hall or police station, one of the two was supposed to be was suggested on that property too. And to me, that doesn't make sense, because if you've got emergency vehicles trying to get any point in this town and you're asking them to exit and leave on Main Street, that doesn't make sense. But while I see your rationale for why it doesn't need to be there, there's no reason why it couldn't be there.
I think what makes sense to me would be mixed use commercial and sidewalk abutting commercial buildings.
Yeah. And with mixed residential and other utilization of.
Sure, but we can't fill all the commercial buildings we have now.
Some of that is because of what the buildings are, right?
Yeah.
That's the difficulty end of things, right? Some of the square footages are far larger than a smaller entrepreneur wants to invest in or can't afford month to month, right? There's economic development end of work that would have to be done in order to kind of figure out what the optimum size would be in order to facilitate, generic growth.
So just off the top of my head, then, if I play along with what you're suggesting and the town hall goes somewhere else, mixed commercial, would you be in favor of sort of like a design code similar to what Niagara on the Lake has, to kind of, because to me, all this mishmash of different buildings is not appealing.
Well, that's what the Main Street Development Committee put forth, right?
Sure.
So that's what they want. They want some sort of facade limitations, requirements, set standards. And I would assume that would be something that would be implemented if that was the case, right? In order to alleviate those concerns, right? Yeah, everybody points to that building on the south side of Division in Maine that, when it burnt down in the 80s, they call it the White Elephant, that big apartment building, doesn't fit. People criticized Elite when Elite renovated and made a modern looking building, adjacent to, the
historic block.
Right.
Yeah.
And tearing down other buildings to build modern architecture up, directly opposed or directly across from significant points of concern in Kingsville. Yeah, there's the good and the bad, the give and the take with that, and there is a place for that in Kingsville. But if we're talking about these main center sections, you don't want to make the investment and then it end up shooting you in the foot because nobody wants to be there because it's such an eyesore.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, sorry, I was just gonna say, I guess if I was to compare Kingsville to other communities, like Essex is gonna undergo, or I think they've approved like a $5 million addition to their town hall, which is right downtown. Leamington's is essentially downtown. LaSalle's is downtown. So LaSalle isn't maybe as comparable because of the size, but when Belle Rivers is right downtown, or Lakeshores is right downtown Belle River. As far as people coming, like, I get what you're saying as far as Cotton, but I mean, to me, the town hall was put there to appease everybody after amalgamation 27 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If that's where it is, and that's where it makes sense, and that's where the property is, and it's best land use planning, I don't see anything wrong with it.
I'd argue it's not. I don't think it's best land use planning. I'm the first to say that there's, I'm sure, lots of people who disagree with what I'm saying. I just think that I think those towns, I think it's an old school mentality that you're going to be going to town hall, that you need to attend town hall. I think the majority of what town hall is a place for office area for municipal employees to go to work. And I don't think municipal employees need to go to work on a prime piece of property in downtown Kingsville. I think they can just as easily go to work somewhere that's centrally located. No disrespect to them. I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. I'm just saying that it's, if you have like one of the prime pieces of property that you have, as we've heard from council and administration, it's a generational opportunity to change the face of what your town looks like. And I don't think the answer is let's build a new office building.
Yeah. I agree. Right. I agree. That's why my proposal was that it be the crown jewel of, the next phase of affordable housing developments, right? Partner with the province, partner with the feds, figure out how we can be a prototype community that we repurpose the property to handle some affordable housing,
But that's in there.
Correct. But that's at the back half and that's hidden, right? We're talking, as Kevin said, the prime piece of property in town, and I tend to agree.
No, I do want to give them props, KPS, and their plan for that. I think bang on. I think that's 100% exactly what should happen with that property.
I wrote about it years ago in that report. I think it's the exact thing that needs to be in that downtown corridor. More commercial space in your commercial zone so that you're not creating the sprawl like in unfortunate towns adjacent to us, Leamington, that did all of their future development back in the late 90s on Erie Street South and murdered their downtown. It just decimated it. So if you continue to kind of be able to utilize that square footage and that footprint in the down, then people stay there, right? We talked about all the streets and reconnecting the streets and creating green space that's common space for people to collect. Hey, they're having the block parties in that area. Wouldn't that be even better if hey, it's not the main street, which was a lot of people going, I don't want to detour around the main street. So, no, but you have that block party in the core of the downtown area. That's perfect what you do to build a community, to build, happiness, to build something of growth, right? So I'm glad that these ideas are being talked about, even though it's not maybe the best opportunity for use of the space, but it's not saying, we're just going to build skyscrapers and that's it, right? So,
and it's just a proposal.
It's a proposal. So we'll see where it goes.
Mayor's vision.
Mayor's vision. Well, I
We'll see what happens with that.
Exactly. We'll see where it goes, right? Like, does it go to council and do they shoot it down? Do they change it? Is there other ideas that come to the surface? When does the school board sell the properties? Who knows? We'll find out. So thanks for sticking with us. Great episode. Thanks to Lieutenant Lucier and Ethan Wuerch and Kristin Kennedy for joining us on the episode. Please subscribe. It does help get the word out. And
hey, maybe we'll see everyone at the block party.
Maybe we'll see everyone at the block party. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.